Good afternoon, I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Carl Samuda has been appointed Minister of Education, Youth and Information. The announcement was made a short while ago via Twitter by Press Secretary in the Office of the Prime Minister, Naomi Francis. Mr. Samuda has been Minister without portfolio with responsibility for education since March last year, following the dismissal of Ruel Reid. The appointment also comes following numerous calls from the opposition and the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, for a minister to be appointed. Criticism from the opposition this afternoon regarding the government's reaction to the cries of high electricity bills from consumers. The opposition believes, coupled with the slow response to the issue, the steps now announced to address the matter are not enough.
The response is totally inadequate.
Opposition spokesman on energy Philip Paulwell responding to the government's announcement regarding high JPS bills. Among other things, Energy Minister Favour Williams says the utility company has been summoned to appear before the Cabinet to respond to the complaints. However, Mr. Paulwell believes this move is not only late, but was only taken after government member Attorney General Marlene Malahoo Fort also complained about an exorbitant hike in her electricity bill.
The Minister of Energy has largely ignored the cries of the Jamaican people about the high electricity bills. In fact, the government has ignored my own appeal for action. I'm happy that belatedly and due to her colleagues' own high electricity bill, we are seeing some response.
In addition to summoning the JPS to answer to Cabinet on the matter has also been directed to the Office of Utility Regulation, OUR. However, the opposition believes that while the OUR does have a role to play in the matter, their delayed response will not provide speedy reprieve for consumers. In addition to questioning the JPS on their billing practices, he is again calling for legislative changes in the pricing mechanism for fuel, which he believes will provide some urgent reprieve. He wants the removal or reduction of General Consumption Tax (GCT) on electricity and a similar adjustment in Special Consumption Tax (SCT) on fuel that generates electricity.
And I want to mention again, they are still charging the tax for the hedging. The hedging has not happened. The government has not used the opportunity of lower oil prices to forward purchase fuel. And I believe it is wrong.
The JPS is to appear before Cabinet on Monday, June 22, to answer questions relating to the complaints from consumers. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, the OUR says it will be holding internal discussions to determine how deeper it may have to go to satisfy the requirements of an audit of the Jamaica Public Service billing system. The regulator was formally advised yesterday afternoon by Energy Minister Favour Williams to conduct a review following complaints from customers about high electricity bills. However, public education specialist at the OUR, Elizabeth Bennett Marsh, says the OUR had been conducting a review of the power company billing system.
You can appreciate we now have to go and look back at what we have already started doing and to see if we need to delve a little deeper, because she has requested an audit inquiry. It's another form of investigation, but internally we'll just have to go and assess if we can delve a little deeper, and if it is that what we're currently doing, we need to get more information.
Mrs. Bennett Marsh, who was speaking today on the morning agenda on Power 106 FM, said the audit will take into account that the JPS has not been as vigilant in investigating a 30% drop or spike in bills as required by the OUR.
Acknowledging that they are not as vigilant in terms of looking at that 30% spike or drop and alerting customers and taking remedial measures. And it's something that we have observed as well, and it will form a part of our audit, I'm sure. And it's already formed a part of our investigation.
Director of Elections Glaspole Brown says the Electoral Office of Jamaica, EOJ, is just weeks away from being fully prepared to organize a general election. The director, who was a guest last night on Radio Jamaica's weekly program Balancing Justice, was asked about the EOJ's state of readiness amid speculation that the country could soon go to the polls.
It's about how long you think you would take to get ready fully ready?
We are prepared. I won't tell you when we're ready, but in short order, we'll be ready.
Short order?
Yeah.
You don't want to give us an idea? Is that days, weeks, or months?
Weeks.
He says the EOJ has completed the purchase of crucial election supplies.
Preparation is going fairly well so far. We have at the stage now where we are recruiting workers to be a part of the process. Our training has started of all election day workers. We have acquired all the balance that is needed for the election. And we have acquired some equipment that we need to have imported from overseas. All of those are in-house. So the process has started.
And the Director of Elections says COVID-19 protocols are being finalized for the next general election.
We are preparing ourselves because we figure out that the COVID pandemic will continue, certainly in the short to medium term. And as such, any upcoming election will be in that scenario. And as such, we are now developing a protocol that will sort of guide our activities, certainly in the process of nomination day and on election day. Certainly as it relates to safety issues, that has to be paramount in terms of how we administer the election. So it's going to be challenging, but we think we have the capacity to do so. And we are working on a protocol which is going to be outlined shortly to our electorate.
The Director of Elections there speaking with Balancing Justice host Andre Earl. The parliamentary opposition has renewed its call for a meeting with key stakeholders to discuss crime. Speaking at a press conference this morning, opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips said urgent attention is needed to tackle the country's crime problem, which he says has reached crisis level. Led to a downturn in traffic starting in mid-March. In a statement published yesterday on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website, the listed company said traffic in March declined by 19.3% following the closure of schools, the nightly curfew and the incorrect insert in that report. Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for Central Manchester, Peter Bunting, chided the government for its use of states of emergency, saying that they have been ineffective. And we now take a break on the midday news, but we'll be right back. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Continuing the news now. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited has been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic, with toll transactions declining significantly. The company, which operates the east-west section of Highway 2000, has revealed that after Jamaica started recording cases of the virus in March and restrictions on movement were imposed, there was a double-digit plunge in traffic. Following a 2.1% increase in toll transactions in January and February, Trans-Jamaican Highway says the impact of national measures to limit the spread of the coronavirus led to a downturn in traffic starting in mid-March. In a statement published yesterday on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website, the listed company said traffic in March declined by 19.3% following the closure of schools, the nightly curfew and the work-from-home order issued by the government for non-essential employees. In April, the situation worsened. There was a 52% drop in traffic due to additional measures introduced, such as the lockdown of St. Catherine. When the lockdown ended on May 1, Trans-Jamaican Highway says there was an increase in traffic, with the decline falling to 34.2% when compared to last year. The company says the trend observed so far this month confirms a gradual recovery in traffic. The decline has so far been 20%. However, Trans-Jamaican Highway says given the uncertainties still hanging over the pace of economic recovery and the measures that could again be taken to stem the health crisis, it is difficult at this time to make a revised forecast for the second half of the year. The National Water Commission, NWC, is warning that there has been a dramatic decrease in storage levels at the Hermitage Dam, which is now below half of its capacity. Corporate Public Relations Manager at the NWC, Andrew Cannon, says despite recent rainfall in St. Andrew, it was not enough to increase catchment levels at the Hermitage Dam and the Mona Reservoir. The NWC's warning comes as the country enters the summer period, traditionally known for water shortage. The Hermitage Dam is now at 47.1% of capacity, while the Mona Reservoir is at 66.2%. Mr. Cannon says while there's been recent rainfall, there are other factors impacting storage levels.
First of all, we've had a prolonged dry spell, and this dry spell would have started from as far back as December. To make up for this prolonged period of dry spell, we need days of rainfall and not just a day here and a day there. Another issue is, even though we're getting some rains, the demand for water has now dropped. So therefore, we have the inflows coming in. However, there are the outflows as well.
As for the situation at the Mona Reservoir,
we also need to see the rain falling, into like the Yalas River and the Hope River. So I'm saying all of this to tell Jamaicans, please don't have a false sense of hope where these rainfalls are concerned.
health officials in St. James have stepped up measures to address a possible dengue outbreak ahead of the hurricane season. Now, Parish Manager for the St. James Health Department, Lennox Wallace, has declared that his team is prepared.
We are ready. We have anticipated this, and we believe that the parish of St. James will be best served by this vector control team.
With Cambridge and Maroontown in St. James said to have been hotbeds for recent dengue outbreaks, concerns have resurfaced as to how the health department will respond if there's a recurrence. The vector control
manager would have assigned 40 persons to those areas. So definitely this week they will be visiting. They'll be doing source reduction, doing adulticidal works, and to ensure that those indices in those two areas that you have mentioned will be reduced significantly.
Mr. Wallace says the illegal disposal of garbage continues to be a challenge. He's warning that those who continue to do this will be prosecuted.
We would have been advising the courts as soon as the court is now has reopened in a significant way, and we will be taking those persons who continuously violate. We will bring them to books.
One man is dead following a motor vehicle accident on the Appleton Main Road in St. Elizabeth yesterday. The deceased has been identified as 57-year-old Colin Thompson of Bagdale Mountain District in the parish. It's understood that minutes after 1, Mr. Thompson was driving a Mitsubishi Pajero from Silo heading towards Magotty. Upon reaching a section of the Appleton Main Road, he lost control of the vehicle, which later slammed into a light pole before falling into a ditch. Mr. Thompson was thrown from the vehicle and sustained serious injuries. He was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. And here now is a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In the next edition of the health report, we continue to look at HIV and COVID-19.
For those of us in homes, we push washing hands and doing all the other precautions, taking all the other precautions. But what do you tell somebody who doesn't live in a home, doesn't have running water, cannot wash hands, has nowhere to necessarily isolate themselves?
That's the health report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip. Follow doctor's orders about your prescriptions. Don't abuse drugs or alcohol. Quit smoking and exercise and eat healthy.
And time now for sports. The proposed second tier of professional club football will not go ahead for the 2020-21 football season. This after a vote among the parish associations and the JFF executives ended in a stalemate. We have more in this report.
The meeting, Casafa, St. Catherine and St. Anne voiced their issues with the start of a 30-team, two-tier professional league system. But they needed support from the other voters if they were to at least stall the proposal. Well, they got another 5 votes, which left the poll at 8-all. The proposal includes 12 Premier League teams and a second-tier professional league of 14 to 16 teams, with one from each parish to kickstart the 2020-2021 season. According to the JFF's Technical Committee Chairman Rudolph Speed, all points were unanimously agreed on, except the start to the Tier 2 competition, which has been pushed back by a year.
Some people were for this year immediately, and some were for next year. The people who said next year was that they had concern about financing, and they had concern that some of the clubs was clearly just not ready to participate in a Tier 2 professional league.
Speed says leaked documents to the media led to clubs being misinformed and indecisive.
The truth is that somebody leaked the documents to you guys, and that was what started it before it was finished. So there's a lot of misinformation in the document that you guys had, because the documents was being reevaluated as we go along. So that was really why that caused all of that problem. But the plan was always, once the document was finished, we would have gone to all the clubs, all the parish people, and explained to them the reason why.
Chairman of the Competitions Committee, Gregory Daly, described the day's proceedings as being in the best interest of the stakeholders.
If it was a go, we would have been ready. We can't be in a situation where these things are accepted and from our side we are not ready for it.
Going into the meeting, the JFF thought they had the majority of the parishes on their side, but Daly wasn't disappointed with the 8-all vote.
I was a part of almost all of the platform meetings, the Zoom meetings across the island, and I was aware of the questions that were posing. Most of the questions were familiar throughout the parishes. So nothing that happened today was really a surprise, because I was a part of all those platforms.
With all other business settled, the Premier League will go ahead with the 12 teams. Daniel Blake, TVJ Sport.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, have a good afternoon.